Hello, a very good morning and welcome along to a brand new week here on Ireland AM. It is Monday the 26th of September. It's great to have you with us.
It is. Coming up on the show, we've got a blessed brother, an amazing author and some top-notch auto advice.
Not to love. Shortly, motoring journalist Geraldine Herbert is going to give us an inside scoop on cutting car costs, which we all need.
Yes, we do. Plus, he went from brother to bard. Brother Richard Hendrick talks 20 years of being a monk, and also he's been mistaken for a Jedi. You can see why, to be fair.
Can't wait to chat to him.
That's amazing.
A real character.
You can't just go zoom, zoom the whole time, by the way.
And he's an actor, comedian, turned Britain's Got Talent judge, and of course, author David Walliams is going to check in for a chat a little bit later on.
Deric is in Sandycove this morning along Dublin's coastline. Oh, look at that view.
Wow.
How are you getting on, Deric?
Oh, what a view. I'm wearing picture postcard down here this morning, lads. There's a bit of a squeeze on the old isobars this morning, which means it's quite windy. Fresh and gusty northwesterly winds take us right across your Monday, so it means there's going to be a little bit of a nip in the air as well in that northerly airflow, a mixture of sunshine and scattered showers out there today. But as you mentioned, we're down here at Sandycove in South County, Dublin this morning, because we're off to visit the James Joyce Tower Museum just across the road. But can we look down here at all the little swimmers, all the little happy heads bobbing around in the sea? It's a cold one this morning, guys.
Are you going to get in, Deric?
Yeah, I always have the togs handy. You know me.
Of course he does. I also love those people who are going for their morning swim every morning and they're like, and there's a cameraman.
Live on telly.
Why do you have to do that to us, Deric? It's fantastic.
Great stuff. Thanks, Deric. We'll check in with you later on. But now let's get the news with Aisling Roche.
Thanks, Tommy. Good morning. Budget negotiations continued into the early hours of this morning ahead of tomorrow's announcement. The coalition leaders have been putting the finishing touches to the plan. It's expected to be the largest giveaway budget ever, worth up to €14 billion, aimed at tackling the cost of living crisis. Proposals include a significant cut in childcare fees, while renters could be in line for tax breaks worth up to €400.
The ministers with the finance portfolios arriving to brief the coalition party leaders on their plan at government buildings last night. The pair confident they have now put together a package that will help homes and businesses with the spiralling cost of living, including rising energy bills and rising inflation.
We're very much aware of the concerns that many have at the moment, and while we know these are uncertain times, we do believe we have proposals that will help with the needs of today and also help us with further developments that could take place next year.
It will be a very substantial package overall. The one-off measures will be significant and they will start to flow quite quickly.
As well as once-off measures to help with the cost of energy, increases in social welfare payments and a package to address childcare costs are also expected tomorrow. The projected surplus in the public finances this year is over €4.4 billion. The ministers say the overall spend on the budget is sticking largely to that already set out by government. All going to plan, Budget 2023, which has been brought forward by 2 weeks, will be signed off on at a cabinet meeting tomorrow morning before the Minister for Finance gets to his feet in the Dáil at 1 o'clock. Marie Mulcahy, Virgin Media News.
Well, it's also expected that all primary school children will get free school books every year from next September. €47 million to be allocated to the scheme as part of Budget 2023. However, the measure is intended to continue each year. A further reduction in primary school class sizes is also expected to be announced tomorrow. Meanwhile, opposition parties will be looking at the budget closely. Sinn Féin says the coalition should cap the price of energy and provide certainty to all people struggling to pay bills over the coming months.
We'd like to see targeted measures from the government that will help renters, that will ensure that the cost of energy and the cost of electricity is capped, because I think what people really need for this winter is certainty. They need to know that they're going to be able to pay their bills. We also want to see serious action on childcare. Sinn Féin has published comprehensive proposals on how we would cut the cost of childcare by 2/3, and we want to see the government to make some effort in this regard, because that's another cost that's just crippling young families.
House prices were largely unchanged across the country, according to the latest daft.ie report. New data from the property website shows between June and September, average listed prices rose by just 0.1% compared to the previous 3 months. The average asking price for a home across Ireland stood at just over €311,000. In Italy, far-right leader Giorgia Meloni has claimed victory in the country's general election and is on course to become the country's first female prime minister. She's predicted to win by up to 26% of the vote based on provisional results, ahead of her closest rival Enrico Letta from the centre-left. Ms Meloni is widely expected to form Italy's most right-wing government since World War II. In the US, a state of emergency has been declared in Florida as Tropical Storm Ian approaches. The weather system has been gaining strength in the Caribbean and is expected to become a hurricane before making landfall.
If an evacuation order is given, please heed that warning. You don't want to be that family or that individual that calls for help, and us and our partners, first responders, can't get to you.
You need to be prepared for sheltering in place. You may lose power for multiple days. Make sure you have enough food and water that you can prepare while you're sheltering in place.
In Canada, a major cleanup operation is underway after Storm Fiona caused extensive damage along parts of the eastern coast. The storm had tracked north from Central America as a hurricane before striking Canada on Saturday. As it moved up the east coast, it left hundreds of thousands of people without power.
For car insurance, van insurance or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you, Joe, and a very good morning to you at home, or if you're indeed streaming online on the player. We're coming to you live here from Sandycove in South County Dublin. We're off to visit the James Joyce Tower Museum. That's all to come into the 8 o'clock hour, so do hang with us for that if you're a fan of literature and history. But out there this morning, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Joan McKenna on cameras and some very, very swimmers in behind me, because it is quite a chilly start. We are seeing some showers into parts of Donegal, Derry, up across County Antrim and the towns of Moat and Trim and County Meath, and West County Dublin, in fact, not escaping either, with some showers en route there at the moment. But as we're holding dry and settled, but do keep an eye on those winds, very, very pacey there, moderate to fresh through the northwest. Now, across this afternoon, those winds, in fact, will increase in speed. They will be quite gusty for a time, but elsewhere it is that mixture of sunshine and scattered showers. But certainly that northerly airflow shaving the edge off those daytime values. So 12 to 15, but it will feel a lot cooler due to that due to those northerly winds. Right across then into tonight, again we are going to see some well scattered showers through parts of Ulster and into Leinster, and towards the back end of the night then into tomorrow morning, more rain developing there through the southwest, with overnight lows again on the chilly side back to 5 to 9 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here in Sandycove, South County Dublin at the moment. We'll catch you again back live 7:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote. Time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline, Budget Boost for Parents of Young Children. Parents of younger children will benefit from free school books at primary level. Childcare fees are set to be cut by at least 20%, and renters could be in line for tax breaks worth up to €400 under budget proposals sent to coalition leaders last night.
Free books, smaller classes on the way for primary schools. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. All primary school pupils will get free school books every year from next September in a historic move to eliminate the annual cost for parents.
The Examiner's front page, families, the big winners in €10 billion budget. Families with toddlers to teenagers are set to be the big winners in tomorrow's €10 billion budget bonanza to tackle the cost of living crisis.
School books to be free in budget boost is the top story on the Daily Mail.
The Mirror's front page, car ram terror. A man is due in court today after a car crashed into vehicles and a pedestrian was injured.
The Star leads with that same story. Their headline, Stolen Car Rampage Driver Charged.
The Herald leads with Joyride Teens Cover for Gangster. Gangster Deric Didi O'Driscoll could end the antisocial activity in Cherry Orchard, where we saw the guard the car being rammed last week with a click of his fingers, but chose not to as the chaos masked criminal activities, a source has claimed.
And finally, The Sun leads with McGregor KO'd by knotweed. Conor McGregor's plan to erect a block of build-to-rent flats might be nipped in the bud by giant weeds. Now let's delve into those stories. Sean Defoe, a political correspondent with Bauer Media, is here. Good morning to you, Sean. Great to have you with us.
Happy Budget Eve.
Yeah, I know. It's all kicking off tomorrow. And it looks like a lot of parents out there are going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, this is a nice little bonus that the Department of Education has obviously got out there. So free school books for primary school children have been worth about €110 a year to most families with kids there, and at a cost of about just under 50 million euro to the States. So it's one of those ones. These are the ones we're really looking out for now. And we've kind of got the big stuff leaked and the big stuff's been out there for a while. It's like, what are the little goodies that are going to come in over the next while?
Now, the thing is about this is when you're buying school books every single year, is there not something to be said for tying the school books to the class so that they can be used for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years rather than having
But what about all the additions?
That's what I'm saying. When you change one sum and you have to get a new edition.
One little paragraph.
Can they not tackle that side of the industry rather than going, we're going to buy new books every single year? Of course, I found a problem with something that's actually a very good thing.
Yeah, well, no, look, it is very good for primary school children that are going to get it, but the school book industry is just something that really annoys me and really annoys a lot of people who actually have, like, I don't even have kids and I get annoyed by it because it's such a rip-off. But, like, you know, you had even passing them down to your younger brother or your younger sister or whatever, and it's like, oh no, sorry, you're 2 years old. That means your history book is out of date. We added so much in the meantime. Or there's one as well that I heard recently. I was talking to a friend of mine whose kids and was saying that they had the iPads. So you're not buying the books. You're not meant to buy the books. You have to buy the program. But to get the code to get the app on your thing, you have to spend the 60 quid on the book in the first place. So yes, there'd be a lot of people looking at this going, well, I have children in secondary school and I'm paying whatever 1,400 euro a year I think it is to get them back to school, and this won't help me. But if you're in primary school, hey, ACES, they got their books.
So the government, they know this as well. Yeah. But they're just like, we're just going to have to pay for it. This is just going to put a smile on a few parents' faces. Let's just get on with it.
Well, this is one that kind of screams to me, look, small win, you know.
Yeah.
And 110 euro, not to be sniffed at the moment, you know, just putting back in your pocket every September.
You've got two or three kids in
that
primary
adds
school.
up fairly quickly, you know. So it is a good one. I think the issue that you're seeing with the Department of Education, that you're going to see with all departments, there's actually not a huge amount of money to go around on the regular day-to-day stuff that affects you every year this year, because they're pumping so much into this cost of living package. So there's going to be, if you look at the social welfare, for example, that's one of the things that's still kind of to be decided today, and they're talking about how much it's going to go up. 15 euro is the number that's been put out there, and they're debating whether it'll be that or whether it'll be 10 across the board. If it's 15, that costs 1.1 billion euro to do.
Wow.
They only had
1.1
billion. They only had 2.3 billion of extra spending to go anyway. So straight away, half of that has gone on a 15 euro rise. So giving everyone a little actually costs a huge amount of money. So that's where they're running into difficulty finding this money now.
What about school buses? Because that was a good thing that they were trying to do, but then of course thousands of school kids are going to school at the minute, or having to follow behind the bus in the car.
Yeah, it was one of these really nice announcements. Oh, great, you have free transport to school. And then suddenly loads of people wanted it. Shock horror. And now it does seem like Laura Foley has gotten a bit of extra money to put on extra buses, because most of this is done through Bus Éireann, hiring out private buses. A lot of people who had been on it the last few years lost out in their places. So it looks as though they're going to get them. Whether they actually get them for this year is going to be the question. I think we haven't answered yet, or whether this is something that, okay, we're making it free for next year as well, and we have the extra capacity.
They need to recruit bus drivers. That was a huge issue as well. I'd love to know, parents, what you think about this. It seems like it's all good. 0896 111 111. So free primary school pupils will be getting free school books. What do you make of the whole school book industry? Like, is it easier to kind of have one book with the class for 5 years rather than rebuying them all the time?
Are people who aren't parents, is this frustrating?
Oh, here we go.
When you see this money being spent on something like you're saying, with those school books and new editions, it's kind of money down the drain, in a sense, from that point of view. Well, with the new books, you know, with the new editions every year, having to get new books, you know, like, should schools be able to just use the same one on a 5-year cycle?
Yeah, it's hardly environmentally friendly.
You can understand how some of them would need an update, particularly with the new subjects that are coming in, or the curriculum does changes, and they're doing big curriculum reviews. But the other ones,
history.
like history, exactly.
Yeah.
Pythagoras' theorem has been around for a while.
Maths is not changing that much.
No, it's not. Also, there is something very good in this. A boost in spending on special education is going to lead to the creation of 370 more classes for pupils with additional needs next September. And we have seen parents who are still writing letters and emails to principals in September trying to get a place for their children with additional needs.
Yeah, they're screaming out for it. So thankfully there is going to be extra classes probably into next year's budget. There's also going to be extra money in there for schools to actually meet their bills, because this is one we've talked about actually, I think, on the show before, whereby the bills for every school is going up. Quite often you see that passed on to the parent through the voluntary so-called contribution. They're actually going to get extra capitation grants on that. Another bit that was in the budget that was announced actually last week that's really good, I think, on schools is solar panels on top of every school in the country.
Oh, excellent.
And to actually help them meet their bills and sort of reduce the cost on the grid. And the final one, so that we have out this morning, is the student-teacher ratio. It's going to be reduced 24 to 1 at the minute, down to 23 to 1. Now we're still much bigger classes than the European average. I think the European average is 20 to 1.
Yeah.
So, it's a step in the right direction. So a few good bits in the education budget.
Absolutely.
A step in the right direction for Italy as it goes to, as it has another
There's
brand
a transition. Is it a step?
Every 5 minutes there's a new parliament in Italy. It's unbelievable. They swing from left to right. But now the Brothers of Italy party, Giorgia Meloni is the biggest. She's set to become the first female Prime Minister of Italy. And she has said recently, yes to natural family, no to the LGBT lobby, yes to sexual identity, no to gender ideology, no to Islamist violence, yes to secure borders, and down with the bureaucrats of Brussels.
And do you know what the great thing is? She's the moderate voice in this new coalition.
That's it, yeah.
With the other two parties, with Salvini, who has been a defender of Putin and a real supporter of Putin in the past, and then the other leader being Silvio Berlusconi. Bunga man himself, you know, is back. And he recently, actually only the last few days, was saying that Moscow was sort of forced into the war by those Ukrainians.
How does he...
Well, he's like been skiing in the past with Vladimir Putin. They're on very, very good terms, so it's not a huge amount of surprise.
Is there any vested interest there?
Yeah, I wonder. It's an interesting one because a lot of governments are starting to see a change. A lot of countries, not even dissimilar to Ireland, in voting patterns after COVID. And Italy was really interesting in that they had this sort of coalition consensus government that they put Mario Draghi, who was completely unelected, of course, in as Prime Minister for a couple of years. Meloni, who is now taking the vast majority of the votes, didn't take part in that and said it's an undemocratic, and basically sat on the sidelines, was able to criticise all the difficult decisions that were made during COVID, which shock her, have been very politically advantageous to her. And now a party whose roots are in the Mussolini fascist movement is
directly descended from Mussolini's party.
They have a huge power, though. If you look at the 200 seats, like they're 111 to 131. I mean, they're going to be able to push through a lot of their agendas.
A lot of stuff, probably to be able to make constitutional changes as well, which could be somewhat worrying. Now, listening to some of the analysis in Italy, she's somewhat moderated her take. For example, the question that came to my mind is, are they going to leave the EU? She's very anti-EU, very anti-Brussels. Seems to be sort of rolling back on that, maybe after seeing how good a job the Brits are making of it. But to stay in Brussels. But it's going to be a very different tone, certainly from Italy and at the European Council now.
Talk about the Brits. Let's move to the English Daily Star. I think we'll have a look at their headline. Holly and Phil, they're in trouble still, aren't they?
Have you two ever skipped a queue out of interest as other fellow morning presenters?
Definitely.
This is going to happen. Well, it's all going to come crashing
Trinity
down
Rooms, Limerick, 2005. Skipped queues all of the time. Like, this is... So they've abolished the highest rated tax for the biggest earners in the UK, right? They've got a Prince Andrew issue who's, let's look at that. But it's Phil and Holly that they're really, like...
Taking the eye. How dare you skip the queue for the Queen?
The thing is, their names weren't on the media list. So that was their big thing, that they came out and said that they were there in media passes. Yeah. But actually, they've turned up and their names weren't on the media list
at all. I love it. More than 71,000 people have now signed a petition for them to axe the show and axe them for skipping the queue to the Queen. This is just the height of Britishness. I can't take it seriously in any shape or form. You know, we got 10 days of mourning and queuing for the Queen, and the biggest story out of it is these two skipping the queue, and they should be axed.
And that's exactly what it is. It's queuing for the Queen. And as my partner was trying to explain to me, he used to live over there, and he's like, no, queues are sacrosanct. They are so important to British people. And then David Beckham and Susanna Reid queuing up, screw them. There is, we've got a video here that people are now, there's so many memes that are going around about Phil and Holly and skipping the queue. Can we take a look at this about someone going into a nightclub or something this weekend?
Here comes Holly and Phil.
So here
Look
they
at that
come.
big long queue.
There's a big long queue.
Walking through, just marching to the front of the... I'd imagine so many people are doing this, going up to nightclubs, going everywhere.
Oh, my God.
I love this. Watch them being called back now.
They're like, sorry, you have to come back. They're like, what are you talking about?
What do you mean? I'm Philip Schofield. They're seeing the fun side of it. But obviously the British media and a lot of people are really outraged. But I mean, I think it's 70,000 people, 71,000 people have signed a petition for them to be axed from this morning. I can't see it happening, though.
It would be outrageous if it happened. I mean, like, it's just so out of proportion. And I know we live in this world now where you do anything tiny, or if you did or said something 10 years ago, you're suddenly cancelled. But this is... Imagine losing your job for skipping a queue, even to see the Queen.
They said they were there in their capacity as journalists and that they were allowed in. Listen.
But they weren't on the list.
Oh, God.
There you go.
My God. I love Phil and Holly. 0896 111 111 to get in contact with us about anything this morning. I'm assuming it's going to be about Schoolbooks and not about Phil and Holly skipping the queue.
I think it'd be the other way.
Sean Defoe, political correspondent with Bauer Media. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sean, thanks.
It's very, sorry, Budget Eve for you. He's off now. He's got a big night ahead of him.
Exciting.
Coming up.
This is my Christmas.
This is your Christmas. Coming up, we're going to be looking at ways to cut motoring costs. Talk to you very shortly.
Now, if you didn't know, the budget is round the corner. It's no secret that the cost of owning a car is always increasing, whether it's resting in your driveway or eating miles on the motorway.
Journalist Geraldine Herbert joins us now with her top tips to save money on your motor. Geraldine, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Are we expecting anything in the budget tomorrow?
What are we going
like, I know we're... As you just said, it's the most anticipated budget, and I don't know how long. Are we expecting a break for motorists?
I tell you, everybody's expecting something tomorrow, and everybody's going to be disappointed. I think we can definitely say that the excise cut that came in April, and that cut 20 cent off petrol a litre and 15 off diesel, that was due to run out in October. That's going to be extended.
Okay.
Now, as we've discussed before, that's millions just to do that. I think the interesting one is going to be the carbon tax. I think this is going to be a stickler there because obviously the Greens are, it could be a make or break for the coalition in the sense that they will not see this not going ahead. But at the same time, we have millions being spent reducing fuel. We're then going to bring in a tax that increases fuel. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there. There's definitely, differing opinions about
it would seem like a strange time to bring it in, given the costs of everything, given what's going on across the world. But at the same time, bigger picture.
Absolutely.
This carbon tax is something we have these goals that we have to hit by 2030 and 2050.
The world is dying.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's getting a bit warmer. So where do they make this line and how do they spin this?
Yeah, and the thing is we have a legal commitment to bring this in as well. So it's one of those things, it's a stickler at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I've no doubt if it does come in, it'll come in and they'll say, but we're giving it to you elsewhere. And I mean, I think tomorrow's budget is going to be, if we do anything, we're also doing this. It's all going to be piecemeal. And everybody, I think, is going to be disappointed because have you ever heard of, €15 increases in social welfare? And people will still be thinking, well, 20 would have been better.
Yeah, that's...
So, it's just one of those budgets.
Whenever you think of how much it'll cost, an extra billion to even just to do that.
It's monopoly money.
But again, the fact that they do have the massive tax takes bigger than they've ever had. There is money there to spend.
And we know that.
They're not spending everything. We all know that they're keeping a little bit back for the rainy day. They're keeping a bit back for the rainy day because we all know that's coming too. So let's just talk about fuel at the moment because certainly my eye is, on this road, it's 184. In my local station, it's 169. So there are huge disparities when it comes to petrol at the minute.
There is definitely. So you need to shop around. And the thing about it is, you obviously, because you're using fuel to shop around if you shop around too much. But the thing is, on your way to work, just keep an eye on those filling stations. Or on your way to the shops, whatever. And try and refill in the cheapest ones because even a couple of cent makes a huge difference on a full tank. So, just be smart about refuelling, really. It can make a difference. And everything does.
Is there anywhere that's tracking it? Do you know, is there a website or is there social media, do you know, that kind of...
pumps.ie. Is it pumps.ie? I think that's the name of it. I'm sure that's the name of it. That usually has kind of your average and your best as well. But again, if you go on social media, people usually post great value here or, extortion here. So you can usually work it out that way. But again, you don't want to be going too far. So it's really the filling stations that are within your focus on your daily route. Yeah. They're the ones you want to be concentrating on.
So if there are other ways of saving money, like say I just had to pay the insurance recently, insane, and it just seems to be going up. I don't understand why, but I believe it's cheaper to pay it if you can in a 6-month or a yearly sum as opposed to monthly.
Yeah,
how does that work?
There's two things you really need to look at with insurance. First is put a realistic value on your car. Now, this is really, really important because if you overvalue your car, the insurance company don't care. Yeah. They will give you the market value if they have to replace it. So no matter what you think your car is worth, the insurance company will have the market value. So you need to go online, figure out if I needed to replace my car in the morning, how much am I actually going to spend? Yeah. And that's the value you should be insuring it for. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I know insurance is a big sum of money to part with every year, but if you can do it annually, you do save money because instalments is always interest on them, so you're paying that bit more. It's like motor tax. If you pay your motor tax monthly or quarterly or half, you're going to pay more. So you'll always, even though it's very difficult when everything else is, your finances are being squeezed in so many different ways, if you can find the money to pay up front, it's always cheaper.
There's something to be said for, though, say if you do, right now, a lot of people have their motor tax and their insurance at the same time. If you decide to pay 6 months of your, say, road tax or whatever, to spread them out at opposite ends of the year, you don't take as much of a hit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
At the same time.
The only thing you have to bear in mind is it's going to cost you more in the long run, though.
No, but I'm saying just once, so that then they're on either end of the spectrum
you
every
don't
year
want all
afterwards.
bills coming in at the same time. If you can do that, definitely do. But always look at the total cost of something rather than the monthly. The monthly is always the one people go for, or the quarterly, and they think that's cheaper. But it's just look at total cost.
Is there something to be said for having a broker? I know that when my father died, my mother's her insurance went up. Because, you know, her husband had died.
Going to be driving the car.
Oh, yeah, because they were on a deal. And I was like, oh, are you actually kidding? Like, when the day that came in, we were laughing so hard. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So, like, with things like that, is it worth having a broker? And is there any cop on with some of these insurance companies sometimes?
Yeah, look, it's always, the more you can shop around, the better, OK? And always when you're shopping around, make sure that you're comparing like for like, that you're getting the same deal, that the excess is the same. So compare the little details. But it's always a good idea to go to a broker. A broker is really useful as well if you kind of fall out of the normal pattern driver. So if you do a lot of mileage, if maybe you've penalty points, you know, if you're going to be one of those penalised drivers, brokers can often get you a much better deal than you'll get on your own. So keep that in mind.
But is it worth doing the thing, you know, like if you go to your mobile phone operator, you're like, I'm leaving, and they're like, stay, we'll give you a deal.
It definitely works.
You do that with the insurance company, right? And they'll go, oh, I'll give you something.
Do that with everybody, even your energy providers. Suppliers, insurance companies, they want you to stay. It's much harder to get new customers, so they want to keep the ones they have. So definitely go back and say, look, even if you haven't, I've been offered a much better deal down the road here. They're offering me whatever. See what the best deal they can give you.
What about, so the Taoiseach recently rejected this €9 monthly fee to cover unlimited public transport. I mean, do you think that this might be something we see in the budget tomorrow as well? A kind of promotion, try and get people onto buses, get people onto trains a little bit more?
Well, I think in fairness, we've probably got a capacity issue. We probably don't want too many people using public transport at the moment, because in the sense that we don't have, like if we were to give away free public transport, we don't have the service to provide that for people.
Absolutely.
So, but what we have done, and I mean, in fairness, they have taken 20% off public transport, the cost of public transport. So it is a lot cheaper than it was. And there are things people can look at. The taxsaver.ie is for people in full-time employment. They can get good deals on public transport. The other thing is the bike to work scheme. You can actually, your employer can buy you a bike. Now, the problem with that scheme is, again, it's only for full-time employees, so the self-employed are out of it. If you're retired, if you're students, if you're a casual worker, you're not included in that. So I think the government really needs to look at, bringing that scheme into more people's possibilities. But definitely, I mean, the other thing people should look at is carpooling. And I don't know why companies don't do this. Like, if you have a limited number of car spaces, and HR can surely map journeys and say, right, you four, you're all travelling in basically the same journey. We'll give you that one car space that's there if you travel in together. I mean, it just, if you sit in traffic, the amount of people who are in the car on their own, it's ridiculous. If you put 4 people into a car, you take 3 cars off the road, you reduce the wear and tear in your car, you reduce the fuel. And I know not everybody wants to share with Marion accounts or whatever in the morning, but you can sit there and sleep. You can just relax.
I listen to true crime podcasts every morning. Be flat out. Couldn't
deal
with that.
You actually would. That's what you would have to be doing. No, there's lovely little things, and I know that these days you can rent car parking spaces on Daft and everything like that.
Rent a car as well.
Rent a car as well. Geraldine Herbert, motoring journalist with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We know you're going to have a busy day tomorrow looking at what they're doing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Now, still to come this morning, we're going to talk to the Dublin-based monk whose lockdown poem received global attention.
Plus, comedian turned smash hit children's author David Walliams joins us for a chat. Talk to you shortly.
Good morning, welcome back to the show. We have lots more to come between now and 10 o'clock.
We certainly do. He's the man behind one of TV's favourite catchphrases. Computer says no. Did I do it okay? David Walliams joins us for a chat about his latest children's book.
He's the priest who went viral for penning a poem about lockdown. Brother Richard going to bring us on a transformative journey of meditation. I look forward to
that. And we're getting creative with DIY enthusiast Aileen Hogan, who will show us how easy it is. This is for you, to make a garden planter.
Yeah.
You love a bit of DIY?
I do, I love it.
You love the garden?
I do love a bit of gardening as well. Look forward to that. Now, Edward Hayden is in the kitchen. He's making a veg curry, Edward.
Good morning, Tommy. Good morning, Muireann. Yes, I'm making a gorgeous curry for you this morning. It's spinach, potato and chickpea curry. It's absolutely delicious, using lots of store-cupboard ingredients, and a perfect meat-free Monday treat for you.
Super.
Lovely. Thank you for that, Edward. And plus, he doesn't go anywhere without his copy of Ulysses. Deric is having a look around James Joyce's Sandycove Martello Tower. How are you getting on, Deric?
You know what? I wish I could start and actually read it because it is quite difficult. But anyway, we're here at the James Joyce Town Museum. We're going to be chatting to some of the crew inside in another wee while. But guys, it's a very windy start, but it is a glorious start. A really nice one out there this morning. And guess what? I had the togs handy. You know, we were talking about the togs earlier on. And you know me, I can't miss an opportunity. There's some shots there on air, and in we went into the water. It was freezing this morning, 15 degrees, but we were in there. It was like happy feet. We're in paddling around, having a swim. Computer says no.
It's hard to miss you. What's with the hat?
I'll be ready. I'll be ready. I feel like you need to sing Baywatch.
Good stuff, Deric. Fair play to him. Jesus, freezing. Good stuff. We'll catch up with you later on. Very welcome back to the show. I am tomorrow or some future day what I established today. I am today what I established yesterday or some previous day.
What? Does everyone go what? He looked up James Joyce's most famous quote. Did you look up the most famous quotes from Ulysses?
What does it mean? I don't understand it.
Do you like a bit of James Joyce? No. Deric is in Sandycove in County Dublin this morning, getting up close and personal with Tommy's favourite author. He goes to bed with Ulysses every night.
Absolutely nicely done there, Tommy. Good morning, guys. Welcome back down here to Sandycove in South County Dublin. We're absolutely steeped in Irish literature history here this morning in the museum. Deirdre Black joins us now. Deirdre, before we get into all the literature, tell us about the Martello Tower itself.
Hi, Deric. You're very welcome. This is the Sandycove Martello Tower, and it's an extraordinary structure. It was one of, 50 Martello Towers built around the whole country in 1804, 1805. The walls are 8 foot thick.
Yeah, I was noticing them there on the way in. They are very, very thick.
Yeah. So they were built to withstand a cannon attack, basically, from the sea, to protect the soldiers who were inside. At the time, there was a fear that Napoleon was going to invade Ireland. So there was a cannon on top. There was cannons on the battery out to the front. So the towers were spaced out. So basically, there wasn't a part of the coast that wasn't defended.
Now, Joyce actually stayed here for a time, didn't he?
He did. He stayed for 6 days here in 1904. And the stay inspired the first chapter.
Absolutely. So the opening scenes from the book are actually set here.
That's right. 3 guys wake up after night. They have a fry, and one of them goes for a sea swim. So that's
like I did this morning.
Exactly.
And of course, he was inspired by Oliver St. John Gogarty, who invited him to stay in the tower.
That's right. Oliver rented the tower for a longer period. So yeah, he was a guest of Oliver St. John Gogarty here.
And the book itself, is it quite a difficult book to read?
Well, do you know what? I'll admit, I read it for the first time this year. You know, like many people, I'd sort of meant to have a go at it, and it started and stopped it. But I read it this year in a group. With help, you know what I mean, getting through, and it's really wonderful. I'd really highly recommend it.
It's hard to digest.
Do you know, with helping in a group, with people helping you through it and talking you through it and giving you, tips and, ways to understand various parts of it. But essentially, it's an ordinary day, and it's about ordinary people making their way through that day. And in fact, a lot of the characters in it are real Dubliners who were knocking around Dublin in 1904, and I find that quite fascinating. I imagine my great-grandmother, is one of the background characters walking down Grafton Street, So it's a very real book in that way as well, and obviously there's a lot of complexity to it.
And the tower here, of course, run by volunteers too.
That's right. An incredible group of people who, if you visit the tower here, you'll meet the volunteers and they'll show you around. They also run events and they run reading groups, so it's an extraordinary huge amount of work that.
And we're going to meet one of the volunteers. We're going to pop the camera over here to Frank Hogan. And Frank, we're going to walk and talk because this place is absolutely steeped in literature history. We've got lots of artefacts from Patrick or from Ulysses, from James Joyce himself.
Yes. Well, I suppose the most interesting artefact is the face of James Joyce, which is here. This is the death mask, which was taken by the sculptor Paul Speck in Zurich. Just after Joyce died in 1941.
So that was cast. That's a cast of his face.
That's his actual a model of his face, yes.
And that's insured for a good few bob as well, is it?
I suppose it is, yes.
And over here in the other glass case then,
yes, we have a number of interesting items here. There's his guitar. He was a fine singer and musician, and he played the guitar and the piano. By the way, we have the piano also, but it's in the Lexicon Museum in Dunleary.
And it looks straight onto the tower here as well,
yes,
doesn't it?
You can see it just up the way.
Yes, now that guitar, that dates back to when, 1916?
During the time he was in Zurich. He went there in 1915 during the First World War, and he spent a few years there before going on to Paris. And then this is a waistcoat, a very fancy waistcoat, like the one which Buck Mulligan was supposed to have worn in the book. This was handed down apparently from Joyce's grandmother, and you can see that it's very finely embroidered.
Cane as well.
The walking cane, yes. You wouldn't see a standard picture of Joyce without him. Cane, really. But that's his walking cane. We also have a tie, which is handed on to us from Samuel Beckett, and a cigar case.
Okay, and we have here this lovely portrait, this from Paris 1928.
Yes, that was during his Paris days. You can see he has the cane in his hand there, and we have a number of other images of Joyce. This is one by the famous artist Louis Le Brocq, which was donated to the tower by Aer Lingus.
And it's free to the public, which is fantastic, isn't it, Frank?
It's open to the public. Well, it was open to the public 7 days a week. We now open 5 days a week. That's since COVID. And it's free.
Free to the public.
Free.
So there you have it, lads. joycetower.ie if you want to come down. It is free to the public. This place absolutely steeped in literature history, so certainly well worth a visit. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Deric.
It's lovely.
Love that.
Those are some good walls there. We couldn't even get a signal through.
Some good thick walls.
Thick like ourselves.
What about this one? Mistakes are the portal of discovery. That's my new favourite James Joyce line. Anyway, right, some good news for a lot of parents out there, cash-strapped parents. It looks like, obviously, it's going to be announced tomorrow, the budget tomorrow. It looks like school books for primary school children are going to be free.
Ulysses is going to be free, guys. It's going to be get them going in primary school.
Reading that. And we have an awful lot of texts in, obviously, about this. On the topic of school books, I have 3 teenagers, 2 years apart in school, so no books could be transferred between any of the kids. It's such a money-making racket. I mean, this is insane.
2 years apart?
Yeah, because they have new editions. So because there was a new paragraph or a new fact put in there. Like, yeah, that is very, very frustrating.
The poetry isn't being written as you're doing, you're leaving. It's there. It's been there for a long time. It's mad.
Yeah.
John is here and he says, does the government know that there are people without children in the country? You make them, you pay for them.
While I am sure parents of children in primary schools will be so relieved by the announcement of the free books, my son went into 5th year this year and his school do not want book rental for senior years, so we've had to buy his books at an average cost of €35. The cost was €250. It's a start. The free books is a start, but it doesn't go far enough. €250 to pay for the books at the start of the semester. I mean, it's just insane.
This one is, and I just want to send our condolences to the person who's gotten in contact here. My husband died last year. My daughter is in 6th year. She turns 18 in October, so because she turns 18, her children's allowance will be gone. I work full-time. I'm just over the cut-off point to have a medical card. My daughter wants to go to college and she's going to need grinds like so many children these days. I also pay for after-school study. It's so unfair to the low-income families. Where is the help for secondary school parents?
Yeah. Exactly. Linda saying the same thing here as well. Just saying that nice to see something in the budget for school going children, but is there any help for parents who are in the middle bracket earners paying for the young adults at 3rd level? This year, just for fees and accommodation for 2 kids, it's costing us €23,000. We're not eligible for grants. It's extremely difficult.
23,000. But that's tackling the issue with. That's tackling accommodation.
Yeah, well, accommodation and fees and everything else.
That's not what it should be. You should not be paying that much for your kids to stay monthly in accommodation. That's bonkers. It's bonkers.
Listen, keep those messages coming in as well. There's also good things about they're going to reduce the number of classes, kids, I think
sizes.
hopefully 23 to 1. And some good news coming through in the budget. Let us know what you think. 0896 111 111. We would love to hear from you. Now, on the way next, we're going to be...
This is going to be lovely if you're getting het up about the budget, I think.
It's an amazing book. Yeah, we're going to be meditating with a monk. See you after these.
Do you know as someone who should be crowned an inspirational county hero. Together with Gala Retail, we're celebrating the achievements of others whose incredible efforts have had a real impact on our communities. Gala is gifting 26 county heroes with hotel stays worth €1,000 for every winner, be it the local charity fundraiser or sporting volunteer. We want to hear about your inspirational county hero. To nominate, simply tell us why they are so special in under 200 words on gala.ie/Inspiration Awards by Sunday the 2nd of October.
Welcome back. Now it's time for some cost-effective cooking.
And we've got the right man to do it. Edward Hayden's in the kitchen. Good morning, Edward.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
I've got a gorgeous dish for you today. So again, a lot of people are going for these meat-free Mondays for one reason or another, whether for health benefits or lifestyle choices, or whether it's for kind of the economy. So I've got a couple of what I would call store cupboard ingredients here, but use whatever it is that you'd like. Go to the bottom drawer of the fridge if you've got leeks, if you've got celery, if you've got onions, if you've got courgettes, cauliflower, broccoli, whatever you've got. And I suppose we all tend to kind of look at it, and we are cognizant of kind of food waste and the amount of food that we buy and the amount of food that we discard. So it's always good to use
drawer
it.
at the bottom, yeah, it's a disaster, that. So something like this where you can just fire everything in.
You need to visit that drawer at least twice a week and kind of do a dinner based on the drawer, as opposed. And sometimes we do a dinner based on what we want to do as opposed to what we've got. Anyway, this is very simple. I've just got some nice hot oil here. So what I've got is I've just got a selection of vegetables. So what I've got here is I've got some peppers. So again, this is a really nice colourful dish. So I've got red, green and yellow peppers. I'm also going to add in some onion into that. And then, as well as all of that, I've got some chilli and I've got some garlic, and I'm just going to pop that in. I always add in the vegetables first. Sometimes I find if you put the chilli and the garlic into the hot oil, they tend to just burn off a little bit. So just do that and get that going really, really nicely. Now, again, think of other things that you might like to put in there. You might like to put in some ginger. You might like to put in a stalk of lemongrass in there. Excuse me. Some people might like to put in a cinnamon stick in there as well if they want it. So you can really play around with this as best suits yourself. So then moving on from there, what we're going to do is we're going to just look at some of our other vegetables that you could put in there. I've got some mushrooms here as well. I have everything other than heat. Now here we have it. I'm going to put in some mushrooms there as well.
Yeah, batch cook this for the week. Or...
This suits very well. What I will say to you, kind of my cautionary word about batch cooking is that sometimes you don't want to have the same dinner 2 and 3 days in a run. I certainly couldn't do it. People can, but I just think you kind of get to a stage of menu fatigue and you get fed up with your dinner, whereas you should be looking forward to your dinner. This freezes quite well, but it will last for a couple of days. But I always think, you know, try and make it to be something different. So again, you might have this today, and then it will thicken if it's left overnight in the fridge. Then maybe tomorrow just heat it and serve it as like a vegetable accompaniment to maybe a lovely pan-fried piece of cod or something.
Having it for lunch the next day.
Absolutely, and it's really nice to do with something like that.
A bit of spag ball or something.
Yeah, and the few little bits of leftovers. How spoiled is he with lovely little lunch?
It's in our meeting. In our meeting at 10 a.m. directly after the show, it's like, what did you have for dinner yesterday? What's that smell? He's
horsing into it.
At 10 o'clock in the morning, I know.
That is lunchtime. Now,
that's what you need.
Into that, then I'm going to put some spices. Now, what I've got here is I've got some curry powder, first of all. So I've just got some of the mild curry powder there. And as well as all of that, I've also got some turmeric. Okay, so a little bit of turmeric. Now, turmeric is, of course, a really nice, good spice as well. We're going to just pop that in there also.
And it's beautiful for colouring as well.
It's beautiful for colouring. Yeah. If you had a little bit of heat, it would kind of give you a nice singe. Anyway, thankfully, it's not my first rodeo, so no heat. No heat doesn't bother me. Now,
look
who
at
needs
you,
heat?
the seasoned pro.
Absolutely.
He's fine.
Now, so pop all of that spices in, and what you can actually smell, if I was to do my Pied Piper effect, you can just get that lovely aromatic smell coming out of that as well. And don't be afraid to fry that off. Sometimes we're really speedy to add the liquids into it. Don't be afraid to just let that cook off.
Does not stick at the bottom,
It won't. It won't stick because you have the residual cooking juices of the vegetables in there, which will just add to it. Now, again, be as inventive and innovative as you like with this. go and get some cumin, get some ground coriander, get some garam masala, maybe use a little bit of your Chinese spice. So all those things that you might have at home would work really well. That being said, then I'm going to add in my tin of tomatoes in there, and I'm also going to add in some vegetable stock. So I'm going to pop all of those in, and I'm going to start cooking out my vegetables with that. Then what I've got is I have some chickpeas. Okay, so I've just got some chickpeas. Again, I'll just remind our listeners, I've told them before, put them into a sieve or a colander and run them under ice cold water. Get rid of all that liquid brine that they're sitting in, because it's quite pungent and it's quite strong. Okay. So in there goes with our chickpeas, just like that. And then immediately what I'm going to do then is I'm going to add in some potatoes. Now I've just got some potatoes which I've peeled just a moment or two ago. I've chopped those into cubes. That's just a normal potato, but think about adding in a sweet potato in there as well. So chunks of sweet potato, even some butternut squash, or now as we move in towards October, you'll have bits of pumpkin and everything like that there as well. So what I'm going to do is put the lid on that, allow that to cook for about 20 minutes or thereabout. Okay. Exhibit A is here in front of me. So this is the one that has cooked down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a lovely big handful of spinach into that, literally just at the last minute. And just by stirring that, that will be enough. The heat of 10 seconds will be enough to just melt that spinach in there and allow that to wilt down. So if I were to serve up, then what I've got is I've got some lovely boiled rice here. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of boiled rice onto our plate. And on top of that, then I'm going to take some of my lovely spinach, potato and chickpea curry, and I'll give you up a lovely spoon of that. So you can just see how beautifully hearty that is as well. We'll garnish those up then. And then what I've got to serve with it is just the smallest wee little bit of yoghurt and a little bit of fresh coriander. And coriander, of course, is very much the herb that you'll either like or you won't like, but it does have those gorgeous citrus undertones as well. So that's your spinach, potato and chickpea curry. Pass that down.
That is a winter warmer right there.
It's a winter warmer.
The heating won't have to go on for an hour after you've had dinner.
But as I said, tomorrow, just heat up some of that without rice, put a gorgeous piece of pan-fried fish on top of it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Marilyn Monroe and some like it hot.
Hot.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to put the heating on tonight.
I knew I'd quieten the presenters eventually.
It's very tasty,
well done,
Edward.
You're very welcome.
Delicious.
Really good.
That is so good. Thank you so much, Edward. After the break, we're going to be meeting the mindful monk whose viral poem caught the attention of so many people, including CNN's Anderson Cooper. We'll talk to you very shortly.
Wow.
Now, at the age of 17, I don't think that there are many that would sign up for a life of poverty, obedience and chastity.
Well, our next guest did, though. Good morning to you, Brother Richard Hendrick. Good morning. Great to have you with us.
Good morning. It's good to be with you.
Yes, at the age of 17, it seems like a young age, because particularly as men, they kind of mature later. So to make that decision so early, was that a strange decision looking back on it, or was this always destined for you?
Well, it didn't seem strange to me at the time. It certainly was something that I wanted to try and to sort of give my best shot at, and that's what I've tried to do. Yeah.
And so I think an awful lot of people are sitting there going, so you're getting ready to do your leaving cert?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wanted to go into zoology?
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah.
So how did you end up detouring into a friary?
From about 15, 16, I was also sort of inwardly asking kind of the deeper questions in terms of kind of what is life all about and how best to live it. Faith was a line of possibility in my life and always had been around that time. And so I began to look around, and somebody gave me a book on the life of St. Francis of Assisi, who started the order that I belonged to. And I kind of just found an experience of sort of clicking with his vision. And so that began a kind of a hunger to search and to try and find, as best I could, how to live that life today. Yeah.
So can you give us an idea of how that life on a daily basis is now?
Well, the daily timetable as such, yeah. Like so the average timetable for me, I rise about 5:30. There's time for silent meditation by yourself. We gather as a community of brothers. I currently live in the Friary in Church Street in Dublin 7. We gather for silent meditation and prayer together then. We celebrate the Mass together, and then there's the various work of the day, whatever that might be. Some of us are involved in our day centre for the homeless. Some are involved in preaching or teaching or working with parishes or schools or hospices and hospital chaplaincies. And then we gather in the middle of the day to pray again and to have our meal together, and then back into work, and then in the evening time, more gathering for silence and for prayer then as well.
And how do you find that kind of group reflection, that silence, that calmness and stillness?
Well, there's a very old proverb that says, within the monastic life, that says, sometimes I have to lean on my brother's prayers and sometimes my brother will lean on mine. So in terms of a kind of keeping us together and keeping us in practice, knowing that we're all turning up together to be there, present before the Blessed Sacrament, present in silence, present in stillness, there's a great, not just camaraderie, but an actual strength that's communicated in that, yeah.
You do a huge amount of work around Dublin with different charities and schools and education and everything else. And the wardrobe, the dress, I'd say it gets a lot of attention.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people call it a dress. For us, it's a habit because it's what's worn. I know, yeah. What's worn habitually. That's where that comes from. But for us, it's not about kind of marking you out as special. St. Francis chose it as an image of kind of being clothed in the cross, being clothed in divine presence. It slows you down. It makes you more mindful anyway. It's very hard to run around in this. But it's also about recognising that I am a work in progress. That the garb that Francis chose was the garb of the penitent, someone who recognises there is a brokenness in me, as there is in every human being, and I am actively trying to heal that. And so that allows others then to come forward and to engage and to have conversations and to sort of open up about their lives and their brokenness as well. And there's a mutual healing happens in that.
You've also, because it is a very arresting look. You know, we've seen Robin Hood and all that kind of stuff. And we have it in our mind's eyes. Friar Tuck.
Yeah, sure.
But children have mistaken you for someone else.
Oh yeah, all the time, especially coming up to Christmas. Yeah. I had a lovely moment in the Dundrum shopping centre some years ago where I was in a lift and the lift opened and there was a man standing waiting for the lift, as you do, thinking about nothing, and he had his little child in his arms. The child turned around and just went, "Santa!" as soon as they saw it. And it was a lovely moment of joy, but it did make me think that maybe I need to be more mindful of my weight going forward. Yeah.
Or the Jedis, is that another one you got too?
That happens too, yeah, all the time. I mean, one of the Star Wars is of the moment. I have a brother who runs a comic book store. When I visit or pop in from time to time, there can be a little confusion around that, exactly who's coming in.
Your brother owns a comic book store?
Yeah, in Dundrum. He runs the Big Bang Comics there, yeah.
So do you go to like the likes of Comic-Con and fit in?
I fit right in. Yeah, no problem.
That's amazing.
Another big thing that you post on social media an awful lot and online.
Sure, yeah.
And I was just reading it again last night. I read it during lockdown. You wrote a poem called Lockdown. Which was just incredible. It was, everybody was in such a dark place, but actually reading that, there was so much lightness that could be taken out of it. And some really famous faces and famous people got in touch with you and reached out and shared that. How incredible was that?
It was extraordinary. Certainly it wasn't what I was looking for. I wrote the poem, posted it on social media, went to bed and woke up to, as I say, an exploding phone, not just the way it had kind of spread and gone viral, but also the number of people who were contacting me to say, have you seen how this has happened, or what, the people that are posting it and retweeting it and doing all of those kind of things with it. For me, though, it was more about my own reflection. It was a desire to find the good in the midst of what was a very negative time for people. We didn't know when it was going to end. We had no idea. Everything was open-ended. So it was to try and find the good and promote the good in the midst of this, and to say to people that whatever we are going through, there's always the possibility of at least acting with kindness, acting with compassion. And I think that's why it struck a chord in the hearts of so many.
And I really remember the bit of kind of at the start where you were talking about Wuhan province. And it was how, of course, this is devastating, but for the first time in years, there's birds singing, people, the smog has cleared. And it really did seem with your values as a Franciscan monk.
Absolutely.
Because, of course, it is about nature communing with each other. Having people like Anderson Cooper, I think there was a few royals that were like saying...
one or two
royals, like a king who might have loved it and everything. Having people see... It does make a difference when it's someone of high profile.
Sure.
Because... people stopped. They took a moment. They read the poem.
Yeah, and it inspired a lot as well. Numerous musical pieces have come from it. There's a dance track version of it out there somewhere. It's been translated into, I think, 27, 28 languages at this stage. There's 3 animated movies. And what was really beautiful for me was there was a women's collective in India who chose to use it to make a film about their own life in terms of how they experience repression and the feeling of being locked down, even in the midst of what we would call ordinary life. So it was fascinating to see it evolve its own life and sort of move into inspiring other things.
It really did, and I think, some of the things in it are gorgeous. And another big thing that became really popular, a lot of people were talking about, was meditation. And because lockdown happened, we all had to slow down.
Absolutely.
And we all had to try and find a bit of inner peace. Is that something, because meditation is a huge part of your life now as well?
Sure.
Do a lot of people contact you with this, or is this something when you go out to meet school kids and people that meditation is the way you try to tell them the way to go?
We work with meditation. I suppose for me, the one thing I'd say is I'm no master, I'm no teacher, I'm no guru or anything else. I'm someone who's trying to live it as best I can and to practice the practice. And so from that point of view, what I can share with people is the richness of the tradition and my own struggles around practicing. And I think that's what makes it real for people then, regardless of their age. But the one thing people are looking for, I think, is the ability to actually engage that reflective capacity in themselves again. And so meditation is one of the things that stimulates that opens up reflection. And if we have reflection, then our experiences just aren't events anymore. They can actually be distilled into wisdom, and that's what most people are looking for.
It's a huge part of sport as well, you know, and it's become more and more popular. You talk to any of the guys who I played rugby with.
Sure.
Meditation is huge now as a way to just break down all the outside noise.
It's really interesting with an awful lot of, books these days. It's kind of Aristotle turned into an Instagram quote. You know, that sort of a way. It's like, all right, here we go. But with this, you've got a brand new book. It's called Still Points, A Guide to Living the Mindful Meditative Way. And going through it, it's broken down into seasons. And there's a daily mindfulness quote for there. And then you've got poetry. And the rhythm of the book, it's beautifully done.
Well, when we began to look at it, when Hachette came to me and were interested in publishing some of the work, the one thing I wanted to include for definite was the poetry. Because I think what poetry does for people is it gives them, whether they like it or not, the pace of the writing and the way it's written actually slows you down. If you want to savor it, if you want to get something out of it, then you're going to physically slow down just by reading. And so the idea, hopefully, is that it creates a little kind of sanctuary space in the day for people, whether they choose to work through it, from the start of the year to the end of the year, from season to season, or whether they just dip in. The important thing is that it's going to actually nourish that ability to slow down and focus.
And I love that even if you've missed a bit, you can go find the day that it is today and get yourself straight back into it. Listen, it's
really beautiful.
Yeah, it is really amazing with the different seasons and stuff as well. Brother Richard Hendrick, thanks so much for coming in to talk to us.
It's been great to be with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's honestly been a pleasure. And to have him not going zoom, zoom like a Jedi all day, it's taken a lot. It's taken a lot. Now, in the next hour, we're going to have DIY and David Walliams.
Not together, mind you. Oh,
separated. We're separated.
See you in a few minutes.
Welcome back to the final hour of Ireland AM.
Now, whether it's on Little Britain or Britain's Got Talent, he needs
he likes Britain.
This man knows how to make us laugh. David Walliams is going to join us for a chat about his new book.
About Britain. We're getting crafty in the garden as DIYer Aileen Hogan shows us how to do it for ourselves. Aileen, it's lovely to have you here. How are you doing?
Great, thank you so much.
He's going to love this now, and I've gotten so into the DIY recently. So what are we...
You have?
I have.
What, painting a wall?
Wow. No. I've done other things.
Okay, well, you've got a new one.
I fixed the door. What are we doing?
Today I'm going to show you how you and our viewers how to make these contemporary slat planters.
Okay.
They are suitable for inside and outside. They can be quite expensive to buy.
I was just about to say.
They are seriously an easy, cheap make.
Really?
And I'm going to show you how.
Am I going to need the saw and like...
Yeah.
Okay.
They look good, but they look real slick.
And they actually look, they're easier than they look.
No, they look
fantastic.
Fab.
Looking forward to it. Nothing about Britain?
Nothing about
Britain. Okay.
Now we have an office outfit on the catwalk. Rob Condon is here. Rob, how are we getting on?
Good. We are taking a look at some office fashion. We've everything from power dressing to 9 to 5 workwear dresses. And best of all, you can mix and match them in your wardrobe, like this suit we'll be taking a look at later on. And they're all available from West End Shopping Park in Blanchardstown.
Perfect for any occasion, even when you're doing a bit of DIY.
I worry when you've got a hammer in your hand.
Fancy a trip of a lifetime to Orlando, Florida? Now is your chance. We are teaming up with Tour America and United Airlines to offer a family of 4 a chance to win a thrilling holiday to Universal Orlando Resort's 3 amazing theme parks, where you'll encounter magical creatures in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, join forces with the Transformers Autobots, and journey through Jurassic World's Velociraptor paddock. This amazing prize includes 3 Park Explorer tickets and a 7-night stay at Universal's Endless Summer Resort, Dockside Inn and Suites. Plus, to celebrate serving flights to and from Ireland for over 20 years, United Airlines will be providing return flights to make your trip unforgettable. For your chance to win, just answer this question. Which state is Orlando in? A, Florida, or B, Texas? To enter, call 1550 999 319 or text TRIP to 57199. Best of luck.
The very best of luck with that. Now, some good news in a lot of the papers this morning about children in primary school and parents. Those school books are all going to be covered. But again, it's like everything with the budget. You just can't keep everybody happy, because it says a lot of parents out there are delighted. But we've messages in here. I have 2 teenagers. Once again, we've missed the boat. My daughter is in 5th year, will turn 18 within the school year. Why can't the children's allowance be paid until they finish secondary school? There's a huge cohort of students that do transition year now, so being 18 or 19 years when finishing secondary school is becoming the norm.
Why are the governments giving everything to young families? Is it to do with election votes? I have 2 children in university. I paid for preschool, childminding and now university, and just missed out on the Susie grant. We're struggling. We bailed out the banks and now we're paying for young families too. Student accommodation starts at $600 per month in the south of the country and $960 in Dublin. We should have emigrated when we were younger, what that person says.
In terms of the budget as well, it's not... It's, a lot of the money seems to be going to the younger cohort again, so I hope the government will not forget old age pensioners. My husband and myself are both retired, but we are between 65 and under 70, so we don't qualify for the benefits like fuel allowance, medical card, etc. We still have to pay for everything and have worked all our lives. We are expected to keep a house going on just over €500 a week, as we are both in jobs with no private pension scheme. There seems to be nothing in the budget for our age group, as we are in the middle. We have a small bit saved, but at the rate things are going, it will not be long before it's gone. Frustration out there. We see, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see. A lot of stuff has been leaked or whatever else. And I think a lot of people would be delighted with the school books, because it's something that should be done.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see later on. I think there's just the cost of living. It's affecting absolutely everyone in the country. 0896 111 111.
Also, we had Brother Richard Hendrick on a few minutes ago, and he was such a
lovely human.
Fella. Absolutely.
Yeah,
lovely human. Not religious at all, but Brother Richard seems so sound, very relaxed after listening to him.
Absolutely. A lovely, lovely, lovely man. Now, we've got something completely different after the break. I've never spoken to this person. You have, I think. Britain's Got Talent judge David Walliams joins us to chat about his latest children's book.
I think he was still drunk last time I chatted to him. Looking forward to seeing him again this morning.
Fab.
You're very welcome back to the show. Now, our next guest needs no introduction, but I suppose we give him one anyway.
Kind of should. It's our jobs, isn't it? He's made us laugh on Little Britain, gasp on Britain's Got Talent, and love to read again with an abundance of best-selling books.
Good morning. It is David Walliams. Great to have you on the show. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Listen,
you can see my very colourful glassware.
It's wonderful, yeah, very nice. It looks like you obviously...
What does it say about me? That's the thing.
Well, that they weren't being used last night, so that's a good thing. I mean, when we were doing a bit of research for this, all everybody was talking about was how you're on holidays with Elton John and Liz Hurley not too long ago, and then you have to get up nice early and talk to us. Sorry.
Well, I know you had Elton John on earlier. Yeah, I was on holiday with them. I was very lucky. I've been friends with Elton for a long time, and you know, if you're good enough friends, you get invited to go and stay with him in France. It's nice. I don't think you guys would like it, but it is an amazing holiday, and his sons get on very well with my son, so it all works out rather well.
perfect.
I don't think of Elton John and kind of a family holiday. I do think of debauchery and tantrums and tiaras.
It wasn't Pontins. It was at house in south of France with David as well. It was great. He's just a really fun guy to spend time with. And, you know, obviously you have to kind of stop thinking, oh my God, it's Elton John. You just have to relax. And, you know, he's just a person like anyone else, isn't he? Just happens to be a very talented one.
But you do spend so much of your time behind people who sell millions upon millions of newspapers and magazine columns, and they're clickbait everywhere, you know, sitting beside Simon Cowell for 10 years on Britain's Got Talent. And the relationship that you have created, the one that we all want to know if you're going to be friends or if you're going to fight with each other on whatever episode, did that just come very naturally?
Well, it did, because he actually infuriated me from the first day we worked together, because he's got this thing. I'm always like on time. You know, if someone tells me to be somewhere at a certain time, I'll just be there. But he likes to arrive about 5 hours late, so it really winds you up. And also, I suppose I just had the kind of guts to disagree with him about stuff, and people like that. And, you know, people come up to me in the street and they will say, oh, keep on giving Simon Cowell a hard time. People seem to really enjoy it. But it is natural. I said we're like brothers, you know, brothers who sort of love each other and hate each other at the same time. He said once to me, you're only happy when I'm unhappy, and I'm only happy when you're unhappy.
That sounds like a sibling rivalry. Right?
He said, who do you think is more handsome, my son or your son? I went, well, my son, obviously. But I said, the good thing is you're so rich you can pay for your son to have plastic surgery.
Oh, my God.
That didn't go down well.
Bringing the children into it, my God.
But I'm sure he will one day. Like father, like son.
I was going to say like father, like son. I mean, what, like, Britain's Got Talent, how long is it going now? 10 years you must be on it.
David's on 10, yeah.
It's
Surely.
been going for 93 years.
Surely there's no more talent left.
Well, great. Let's just have the untalented people. So much better, so much more entertaining. Well, you know, there's new people all the time, isn't there? There's new people and younger people who've come up watching the show. There's people who've maybe resisted being on it for a long time, who are, you know, like sort of seasoned performers, but never had that big break. And they see others doing well on it and they come onto it. And also I feel like, you know, we've had some kind of cooler winners recently. You know, we used to have a certain type of entertainer on it, sometimes a bit more old-fashioned. But now we've got sort of a lot of cool young people. So the show's been going great, and we're doing a magic special quite soon, I think, for Christmas. So yeah, I love doing it, and it's an easy job because you just have to turn up and react.
Yeah.
You know, normally when you're doing something, you know, like acting or something, you have to learn the lines and rehearse and all that. But this, there is no rehearsal, there is no preparation.
Yeah.
You turn up and just react, and that's all they want you to do.
Great.
I wonder if on the magic version leading up to Christmas, you can have someone who'll magically teach, you know, TV presenters how to cue. Is that something that could happen?
What is it about Britain and queuing? Like, why is it such a massive deal?
We're very good at it, and we love it. And yeah, I think it's good. I always like that we, you know, you know, when you go abroad, well, do Irish people like queuing, or is it just...
No. Well, I think we do, but maybe not to the level. Like, I mean, this is a pretty big storm.
The Phil and Holly thing, we're fascinated looking at how big this is getting every day. When I don't know, I don't think we're not great at queuing over here, no.
I kind of think, I thought storm in a teacup, I kind of think, you know, it's just silly, but this is the way the world works, isn't it? You sort of need, you know, people need stories. But of all the stories to come from last week, to think that this is given airtime, I think is a bit crazy.
Mad. Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
The whole world watching this incredible funeral, this incredible, you know, moment where we all got to sort of celebrate this person who's, you know, been there whole life. You know? It feels like much bigger things are going on in the world.
I am into that. I mean, to think that it's front page of the paper again still. I mean, listen, let's talk about another big story. Of course, it is your new book that is out on Thursday.
Not quite as big a story.
They'll be queuing up for it. They'll be queuing up for it.
Oh, it looks good, doesn't it? The illustrations are fantastic. Yeah, so this book it's set in 1960s in America in the space race, and it's about an alien crash landing on this little girl's farm. And then they kind of have to go on the run and have an adventure. But there's a big twist in the story as well. Things are not what you may think at the start. And people who've read it already have said they didn't see the twist coming. So I'm quite excited to see how kids are going to react. So I'm excited. I'm just going to get I had a copy last week, one copy last week. I gave it to my son. He always gets the first one. And it's going to be out in the shops on Thursday. So I'm excited. You know, it's always fun to put something new out there, and you work away on something on your own for months and months and months, and then, you know, finally kids are going to get their hands on it. But, you know, people will tweet me on Thursday afternoon, go, I've read the book, when's the next one out?
Yeah.
And
that person will be a 42-year-old, because you hit this sweet spot of, you know, like the Roald Dahl of old, where it's for adults and it's for children. Like
I hope so.
I
hope so, because I mean, as a parent, my son's 9, you know, and obviously to some extent, when you're a parent, you sort of get to choose a bit what your child's going to watch, to some extent what they're going to read, all those kind of things. And so you tend to pick things that you know you're going to enjoy as well. And so I'm quite glad, like my son has just got into The Simpsons. And I was like, oh, great, because I actually love The Simpsons. And we can watch it together with Scooby-Doo for about 7 years. And now it's The Simpsons. The Simpsons is probably, for grown-ups, got a bit more to it. And so, yeah, I designed the books that way, to have like themes that you can take away, to have some humor that hopefully crosses generations. And also, I think some of the best children's books, you mentioned Roald Dahl, he's certainly my hero. I'd never compare myself, but one thing I learned from reading his books was they always felt a bit naughty, a little bit forbidden, and a bit like the kind of books you'd read under the mattress with a torch. And I think children's books should have that quality. And in a world where, you know, there's so many other things children could be doing than reading a book has really got to feel exciting to that kid. You know, it shouldn't be like a chore to read it. It should be a pleasure to read it. And that's what I'm always aiming for in my books. I want to write books that children just want to read themselves. Absolutely. You know, and hopefully make them sort of fall in love with reading. And then I guess they're going to read lots of other things. But I think they're a fun starting point. Well, and in this book, it's full of, I don't know if you have a copy yet, but it's really packed with illustrations. Like, I hate there to be any page where there isn't something exciting happening. Because when I was a kid and I went to the library and picked books to read, I'd flick through, look at the pictures. And if there were no pictures, or the pictures didn't look very exciting, I wouldn't get the book out of the library.
That's what I still do.
Yeah, I don't know. The pictures have got to be exciting too, and they're brilliant by Adam Stower. So
that's amazing. I can't wait.
I'm really proud of it. I think it looks fantastic as well. That is a great
really
cover.
does.
I can't wait until my kids are reading these books and watching The Simpsons. For now, I have to watch the Teletubbies, which of course you're in as well. So that's what I'm stuck with.
So your child's 29. That's old.
David Walliams, listen, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. And your new book, Space Boy, is out this Thursday.
Thank you, guys.
Great.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Now, still to come this morning, we've got a lesson in building for beginners, as we're going to make our own planters.
Plus, we're jazzing up your workplace wardrobe. We'll touch you shortly on Ireland AM. Your workwear wardrobe is in the spotlight today with stylist Rob Condon. Rob, thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning. So we're going to get straight into it. Obviously, we're changing seasons, so workwear all changes.
Yes, exactly. We're taking a look at workwear. We've got power dressing with a power suit, and we've got form-fitting dresses. But I think what's quite important is as well that you can get pieces that you can mix and match in your workwear wardrobe. Yeah. And that's what we're doing this morning from West End Shopping Park in Manchester.
Fabulous. We've got Sarah with the first look.
Yes, Sarah's up with us here, and we have gone with a power suit. Power suits are always great, and what I love about this camel combo power suit, we have gone tone on tone with this look here this morning. You can mix and match it. So the 3 pieces here, you'll definitely be able to mix and match in your workwear wardrobe. The earrings are $6.99. They're a hoop earring. If you are someone who's still working on Zoom meetings and stuff like that, jewellery is always important because it's the top half of you.
All right.
Yes.
Remember that.
Always important. $6.99 there for them. And then with this beautiful blazer, it's a sophisticated tailoring here at €55. You can see the button detailing to it there. Pockets, you can see the attention to detail and the design of this tailoring. But again, this is a great blazer to mix and match.
Okay,
so going with a different pair of trousers with this, bringing maybe a burgundy pair of trousers, or also putting this blazer over a dress has got to work. So you're getting it wear as a suit here, but you can mix and match it. You could also bring it into your casual wardrobe. $19.99 then for the bodysuit underneath. So we've gone tone on tone. These come in a few different colours in new look at the moment.
Yeah.
So a great piece to add to your working wardrobe. You can throw them under suits with a skirt, under
Black,
a
white,
cardigan.
creams, the green, khaki greens, they're all there.
Exactly.
This has got the kind of 70s/90s, early 90s belt.
Yes, it does. The high-waisted trousers here, it is a match. They're flared as well, so you're getting the 70s vibes that we're seeing so much of for this season. They're €57. These would go great with a light knitwear as well. A cardigan would work with these trousers, so if you wanted to wear it as separates, you could also do that.
Bit of pop of colour with the bag.
Pop of colour, so burgundy always works great with camels or leopard print. So you can see the burgundy works great with the bag, so you could go with underneath the suit if you didn't want to go tone on tone. Bring a burgundy top, bring a leopard print top, and it's going to work. But a great bag there with
And
beautiful chain detail.
You've hiked the already very tall Sarah Marcy up in a pair of heels this morning.
We have €43 for these heels from Next. They're a patent pair of heels, always great to add to your workwear wardrobe.
Lovely look. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. We'll see you back here very shortly. And we are going with a classic coat with Danny for the next one.
We're all about classic coats here and the two-piece combo underneath it here. This is a great coat for your workwear wardrobe. You can see the tie detail into the back of it there, so you can pull that in and wear it like that. It's got a waterfall collar to it. First off, the necklace at $11.99 here. So it's quite a simple necklace, but I think with the neckline to this top, it works really well.
These, now I know these coats are around every single season. They're very big this year from, like Anina Bing has gone full on without having the buttons.
Yeah.
She's gone waterfall and tie
Tying
belts.
in at the waist. Yeah, they are everywhere at the moment, and they have them in a few different colours at the moment in new looks. If you didn't want to go with this stone colour, you could go with more of a bold block Brighton. But I think this colour works really well for a workwear wardrobe because it's got to go with lots of different things. And a lot of people, if they're buying a coat, they want it to match in with all of their Monday to Friday looks.
It absolutely has to. You've gone for a cord.
Yes, we have a co-ord underneath this, so it is a matching co-ord. It's available from Pep & Co at Deals. The top is €10. You can see the V-neck line to the top. Really gorgeous colour as well with this. But I think it works well for your workwear wardrobe. So if you want something that's kind of casual and cosy, but you can make workwear, it's going to work really well.
It does look cosy.
It is. Belted then at the middle. So I think adding a belt to it just makes it that little bit more tailored, a little bit more shape to it, and a bit more sophisticated. With the bottoms, they are €11, and they're flared bottoms as well. Again, with the blazer we just saw, if you were to put this over, this would work really well colour-wise.
And now, can we look at the little mini briefcase? Look at you. If we didn't know Danny was heading off to work, we do now.
Exactly, the briefcase there at €55. So that's perfect for your iPad to throw into it, or some files you might have. You can see the mix of burgundy and the leopard print, the zip detailing of it. So a really kind of stylish piece to add to your wardrobe.
And the shoes are kind of sexy.
Yes.
Toe cleavage.
We've gone with these shoes at €33 there, so working really well with this look. But you could also go with a flat pair of shoes with this. Danny is quite tall, but you can see with the length of these, if you're a little bit smaller, you're going to get a little bit more length.
It's going to get a bit more coverage. Danny, that's lovely. Thank you so much for that this morning. We've got Blonde coming out with our next look, and we're going to check.
Yes, well, we're going hen's tooth with this, and it's all about a form-fitting dress.
I'm sorry, that's so... The way you just came out with the glasses on, Blonde, you're going straight into the boardroom. You're not fired. Amazing. Love it.
Yeah, the perfect look here. First off, we've got the glasses. They are available from Deals. They're $3.50. So they're screen...
Are they blue light glasses?
Yes, they're blue light glasses. So if you have any problems with your screen or get headaches or anything like that, they're going to work to help with that. But a really cool pair. And they're quite stylish as well.
They look
Blonde
great.
looks great in them, yeah.
When does she not look great now? Come on, let's be honest.
This is true. Then with the dress here, you can see it's all about the shape to this dress. You can see the pleating to it, which is quite clever. So it comes in at the middle there and then goes into two pleats. That's going to do a lot for body shape. It's €46. It's also available in a plain black. So if you didn't want to go with the houndstooth in this, there is an alternative.
The form fitting, I think that could actually suit an awful lot of body shapes.
Yeah, it could. And definitely, you see the way they've kind of got the clever to the middle of it there?
Yeah.
The tie, and then it comes into a pleat, so you're going to get coverage with that.
Okay, yeah, that's really good.
And as I say, it is available in a black as well if you didn't want to go with the print in it. Then with the bag here at $33.99. So it's an oversized shopper bag. So if you're someone that brings lots of files to the office, everything, it's got to fit in that bag.
And the shoes.
And then with the shoes here at €18, they're a faux suede court heel, and then you can see the patent bow detail to the front of them. They go great with a pair of jeans as well if you wanted to dress up a pair of jeans for a night out.
Judge, I object.
She's
Amazing
looking very
there.
powerful in that dress.
Sarah's back with our final look today.
Back with us, and we have gone with a very glam office look here, and I just love this. The camel coat and the black works really well with this. Coat is $39.99, great price point. It is available in various different colours as well. And then this top underneath it is just a standout top with that gold button detailing to the top of it there. It's a kind of a satin finish to this top, which would go great with a pencil skirt. It could also go great with like a burgundy leather skirt if you wanted to change it around. A really slick top. You can see the kind of ruche detailing to the top of it. It's all about that bowl shoulder. And then we've gone with these high-waisted black trousers at $29.99. Again, bringing that gold detailing into them. So it's just all about making a statement with this look here.
And it's not overdone. It works well together.
It's not. And I think if you're someone that does like to wear all black, it kind of gives a little bit of a stylish update because you're adding a little bit of colour with the gold button detailing to this look. And then with the shoes, again, we've gone with a pointed toe shoe, which you can see the mesh detailing just to the sling back there. So it's just a little bit of a stylish update, which would also go great with a pair of jeans because they are quite a statement pair of shoes. Or if you wanted to change, if you're not into flares, go with a cigarette style trouser to this with those shoes, and it's going to just
the blazer
work really
from
well.
before will work. They all kind of...
they all match into one. So the blazer, the coats, they're all going to go with each outfit.
Look what you did, Rob Condon. Thank you so much for that this morning. Cheers. Thank you so much. Now, up next, we've gone fashion. Now we're going easy DIY planter box ideas for beginners. We'll see you back here very shortly.
Now, with maintenance and construction costs on the rise, many people are choosing to do the work themselves.
They absolutely are. DIY and upcycling specialist Aileen Hogan is leading this DIY movement, and today Aileen's going to show us how to make a contemporary slat planter, which I'm told, Aileen, is the perfect project for a beginner.
Looks good.
This not beyond, like, the first thing not be a little teapot holder.
Well,
do you know, just get a piece of wood, put the teapot on it, done.
Challenge yourself a little bit. Tommy can tell me in 5 minutes whether this is easy or not.
Okay, right.
The reason I think you should be making these yourself is because they can be expensive to buy.
Yes.
And if you make these out of old pallet wood, scrap wood from your garage, that from another project, or even a picket fence. See, I brought some picket fence up from Tipperary for you guys.
Okay.
I will be making another one out of that.
So I could turn a planter into that?
Turn that into a planter,
yes.
Very cheaply. But more importantly, when you have it finished, you can then style it to suit your decor. So say you've painted your front door in a beautiful baby blue.
Yeah.
You can then paint them up to match. How beautiful.
Okay, right,
so
let's get started. How do we do it?
So I have done this for a complete novice like yourself.
Yeah.
Very few tools, and you have no scrap wood.
Okay.
So you go out and you buy yourself 4 8-foot pieces of 2x1.
Okay, 2x1.
2x1.
Gotcha.
You're going to cut 4 pieces, the height of your planter. We're going to make this little planter down here, the small one.
The small one.
Yeah. The small one.
Okay.
So we're going to cut it the height of it, which is 30 centimetres. 4 pieces. I'm going to turn 2 of them on their side like that, and then I have cut 6 pieces for the lats down the side. Okay?
And are you cutting these with a proper?
I am cutting
Or are you just sawing?
You can do either. Now I have a proper, but you can use a handsaw and a miter box.
You've lost me already.
That is pence. And a handsaw will show you the 90-degree angle and any 45-degree angle.
These are tried to do this before.
So
it just didn't work
We've got
out
our
so well.
6 cuts, and I have put little galvanised panel pins into the cuts already. Okay, before I put it together. It's much easier to half drive them in.
So
These
you
are
wouldn't
only
use
little
glue,
nails.
like no more nails type thing?
We are.
Oh, you are
Very
as well,
important.
right. Okay.
So I'm going to put wood glue on the back of these, and then I'm going to place it down on my 2 uprights like that.
Right.
Okay, and I'm going to hammer down my nails.
Okay.
My panel pins. Then I'm going to use a little trim like this as a spacer pop it on there, and I'm going to put my next one, wood glue, panel pins, hammer down. Move your
So
spacer.
why are you using glue and nails?
Okay, the reason you use the glue is because it attaches every single bit of wood to every single bit of wood, and you're not just relying
So why bother
those.
wasting the nails then, if it's going to
Extra
attach
security,
anyway?
and it'll hold it in place while the glue actually works. Sets, okay? So you keep going all the way down until you have created your
Sounds
first
easy.
side.
It actually does sound pretty easy.
And then I could just use that as a planter and put it on top as well.
There you put another one there, and you have your little teapot holder.
Thank you. Finally, a teapot holder.
Everything.
An epic teapot holder.
Flip it round, and we're going to
there's
put
more.
another
Right.
one of these here, and this is going to hold your base. Okay?
Okay, right.
Do it twice, and you've got 2 sides.
Okay, and then
Yeah,
you just...
follow me, and then you literally do the same. For your 3rd and 4th side, you're going to do this. Glue.
They're a bit wider, are they?
They are wider. All the measurements to make this exact box are on a blog post with step-by-step instructions on shabby.ie this morning.
Shabby.ie.
Shabby.ie.
Okay, so all the measurements and all the instructions,
They have to be slightly longer because you're covering extra here, but that's all explained on the blog. So I'm going to put that
and
up
have
there.
you noticed a massive, a lot more interest in this? Because listen, all we're
Huge.
hearing is people are struggling to pay bills at the minute. But of course, you
Huge.
have your house, you want it to look presentable and things like this.
And the reason I chose this one, yes, this is a decorative item, it's not needed in your home, but the reason I chose this is because it teaches you measuring and it teaches you cutting, which are 2 things you're going to need if you're going to become anyway handy with DIY around the house.
The thing with this is, I do think you have to be ready with something like this for it to go terribly wrong. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So
and
you
your
have
first
to make a
one
Haynes
will
of
not
it.
be great.
Right, okay, so as long as we acknowledge
What do
that.
you mean it'll not be great?
Oh, it won't be.
You just showed me how easy it is.
Yeah, but
Can we let him...
Tommy, that's me. We're talking about you now.
Okay. Hey, look, can we let him knock? Can we let him knock a few nails into something? Because he won't be happy until he gets to do it.
I need to ask first, sorry, about the top bits. Because you've got them cut at the edge.
So when you get your box up like that, it doesn't look beautifully finished like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to measure the actual width of the box, and you're going to cut 4 pieces at a 45-degree angle.
And again, so
this
here...
is how you do this, Tommy, okay? Get your
Yeah.
saw there. We'll leave the cover on. We don't want you...
I tried to do this with
yourself.
skirting boards before, because the skirting board's meant to be like that.
Yeah. That's right.
But I was like, can't do that, so I
Okay.
just had them like this. My wife made me take them all apart.
I wonder
That's not good.
So what do you call that joint? What do you call that diagonal joint?
45-degree. Look at that. It's all set out for you. You actually really
Do you
can't make
think
a
this is
mistake with
one,
this.
if you're thinking about doing it, that you should be investing in this? Because I remember...
That is the beginners.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. You are not going to go out and buy a chop saw.
No, of course.
When you're brand new to this.
Well, you know, there's people going, oh, I'm going to get my pencil the old school way, and I'm going to have my little bit of string, and I'm going to do it that way.
That's about €7 or €8. I mean, it's so easy, and
So-
it gives you the exact cut.
So how much would this planter cost
Okay.
in a shop?
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
in a
do you
shop,
think?
I'd say that could cost you about €65.
65, and all this?
I made that one because
Yeah.
each length is only €3, so I made that one for under 20.
So under
and I
20.
made that one for under 15.
Under 15, this one here.
Now
So-
I just pop a plant in it, look,
Yeah.
because I've created a base. You can fill it and plant it, or you can just do like that. So then you can change your plants all the way
So
around.
Warren's all into her DIY now. So
I am.
here's the question: would you do
Take it
this?
apart now.
No, but it's just that you've put a
Yeah.
base in there. Hi,
Yeah.
Pete. Can you
Look,
see that
you
there?
put all sorts of stuff
See
into
the base there.
Listen, we love it. Yeah, fair play.
Oh.
It's sure it's a bit of crack, isn't it? And it's something for people to
It
kind of
is.
get themselves handy at the weekend. And
it
show the
is.
kids that they're good at it.
And you were talking about painting earlier on.
Yeah.
Don't forget, if you're painting something like this, you need to prime it first to block in all those nasties that are already on that. Because if you just paint it, they'll come back out.
It'll be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, Aileen Hogan, DIY and upcycling specialist. I'm going to go home with my saw.
Where
I'm
is
going
it
to give
again?
this all a go.
Where can they find it?
Shabby.ie. There will be a reel up on
Where the blog post
Instagram
is.
and all stories today.
Thank you
You're
so
very
much,
welcome.
Aileen. Cheers.
Thank you very much for that. Now, coming up on tomorrow's show, you're not going to want to miss it. The leader of the opposition, Sinn Féin's Mary Lou McDonald, is going to join us ahead of the budget.
8-time All-Ireland winner Philly McMahon chats swapping the pitch for the kitchen on the new season of The Restaurant.
I did that, only got 2 stars. Plus food, fashion and loads more. We're going to be back tomorrow morning from 7. And look at this, the sun's
Try
shining.
being a
Get out and
politician as well. See how you get
try
on that
a
as
bit
well.
of this.
Bye. See you later.